Hi guys, I'm Jen. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about how I've been training my dogs, and I think it's definitely been helping. Now before, I've trained them with like food aggression because there were times when they would fight and there would be blood on their ear, like from biting each other, because they would fight over a bone. You know, they would fight over food. When you have two dogs in one house, that's a lot. It's like that's now that's high maintenance because now I have to, I wanted them to have bones to chew because it is something that stimulates their brain. It's something that dogs enjoy, and that's like when you have a bored dog. That's one of the things that relieves the boredom, right? And so like I couldn't just worry about if I had a bone laying around. I had to worry like were they gonna fight over it? And a fight means like they just don't know why they're fighting. They keep going, and you have to pull it apart. It's not fun to watch or be a part of or have them do. And so I really started training not only for that, but because they're very reactional dogs. Like they would run. If I was out in the yard with them when I had my yard closed off, if the neighbors over here came out, they would run right to them and bark. Now, because of my experiences with those neighbors and even experiences outside of them. My dog still, when they saw that neighbor at the front, like, because they had to park due to the construction, my dog picked her out and started barking at her. She didn't have her dog with her. She has never done that before. So I don't know what's going on there. And it's weird because like I don't think, like I've had people over to my house where I realized later they didn't have good intentions for me, and they were friendly and fine with them. So I don't know. So anyways, it got to the point where like I'm like that's obnoxious behavior. I need to start training you. So I was like, how can I get them to stop like being so impulsive towards the neighbors and people walking by even? So we'd be sitting on the couch, they'd be barking at the window. It's obnoxious. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's not fun for your dogs to be emotional like that, where they're overreactive to people that are literally just walking by down the street. I understand, like in my yard, that makes sense. I want you to bark if someone's in my yard, uninvited, and I want to be able to teach them like, no, that's safe, or something. I haven't got there yet, but I just had to bring the reactivity down, and then now it's allowed me. So when I had them at the window, I would stop them. I would either remove them from the window or get them to try to watch what, and then I would be like, that's a kid. That they're okay, they're safe, and I'd use like a safe tone. So I don't know if they understand the words, but I was like trying to show like that's a friend. And trying to get them to stop barking and start watching. And so while I transitioned, that was sitting on the couch, because depression days and low energy days really involve the couch, right? So I'm there often, and I record there. And so another issue I was having too is like they would bark. If I put someone on speakerphone, they bark because they think someone else is in the house. Now they don't know why they're barking, and if I were to let them out and see like nobody's here, right? So like maybe I have to take more time that way. But also, like I don't have people in my house, so it's just the kids, and they get super excited when the kids are here. But they freak out when they hear a different voice that they don't know, which, I mean, I'm not mad about that. They don't know that person, right? I just don't want them to have that high level of reactivity. And so what I've been doing is I got them to pause, watch in the window, and now when I walk out on the street, when we come across dogs, I either try to get them to sit, which doesn't work really well when they're still like highly reactive. But what I do when because not all dogs bark at them, right? So they might do a couple barks, and then I'll be like, no, and I'll correct them, and I'll tell them, just watch, and I'll be like, that's a dog, that's a safe dog, you're okay. Because just because a dog is off leash, like that I don't like for my dog. That is untrained to me. When your dog comes into my space with my dogs off leash, that is not a trained dog to me. And maybe you may consider it friendly, but for me that's my dogs don't know how to socialize yet, so that is not safe when you let your dog come into my space. But I've also recognized there's a lot of dogs that are on leashes that are highly reactive as well, and those are potential predators as well. I don't know, like I've had a dog that kind of prompted me to do my next level of training here, because it was a pit bull. It is a pit bull, and it's a younger guy walking it, and while he seems to be able to manage it when the dog, like he barely manages the dog when he sees my dog. My dog's and so that is concerning, because like what if he's walking away off guard, he doesn't see us, but his dogs see us, because I've had it happen over at the fairgrounds, and we were lucky to get away without, because another dog behind a fence was barking and distracting that other dog. So I'm just like, you know what, I don't want to wait until it's too late. So I like to be preventative and proactive. And so what I decided when I came across that dog. Yes, it irritated me that a parent is letting their kid walk that dog, be in charge of that dog. And it's not just the pit bull, but like from what I understand, pit bulls, like when they lock, they really lock, right? And it's a large dog, and this boy can barely manage it. Like if he's focused on it, yeah, he can. But if something happens out of the blue, that dog's gonna rip out of that guy's, and then whoever's at the other end of that attention of that large pit bull, they're gonna have to, and then it'll be like a oopsie, I made a mistake, and I was like, well, no. If the parent watched this kid with the dog, they will see he can't manage it. Like they don't have to they could follow him when and just see what he's doing while he's walking the dog to make sure that he can handle all different situations, right? But people don't think that far. They don't think outside. And so I got to the point where I'm like, okay, so it's not now just about unleashed dogs coming onto my property or meeting out in the public, but it's now about dogs that are with their owners that they can't handle those dogs, right? And so like if it were to come down to it, that like there's a good chance this dog can get out of the control from the owner, right? And then now I've got 2 dogs and this big pit bull, and it's not just pit bulls. I've had a lot of large dogs like with people that they just can't manage the dog. And so not only has this made me be even more aware of my surroundings, and now I pause, and it's also like working on my not feeling bad. I don't care if I'm pausing and you see me pausing and you think I'm some sort of thing, because like some people will take that as like, how dare you pause? Like, what are you pausing? My dog's fine. It's like, I don't think your dog's fine, and your dog makes me feel unsafe. And I have no problem now, like speaking up and advocating for me and mine. Like I'm working for that. It does happen in weird situations where, like I said, I just had a recent budding issue where I just like I didn't feel like I could advocate because I didn't have the resources, but at this time I can advocate for my dogs, and like so I'm walking them one at a time, because that allows me, like if something does happen, it's easier to train one dog at a time. It's easier to manage my little dog one at a time. And if I did have to pick up my dog to try to block it from the potential other dog, now I can do that easier. Like imagine trying to pick up 2 dogs. Like they do have like the full body holsters which attach at the back, which I found that design keeps them from getting out of it, but also helps me when I'm trying to correct them so it doesn't pull and choke them. But it also is like if I have to grab them, it's like a handle. I can pick them up quickly and then, get them under my arm kind of thing. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because I think that would still hurt my dog. I don't want it to get to that. But like some people are just not thinking about other people's safety, and they're not even thinking about their own. If they're not thinking about their own, they're not thinking about other people. They don't think like, how can my dog hurt someone else's dog? They're definitely not thinking about the harm to your dog, right? They just haven't gotten that far in life. And so so what I've been doing now, and I'm gonna do a video later, I made a thing where I can like put my phone on it to record, but I can't find it right now, so I would like to show you guys what I'm doing on my walks. But I got all these different I'm not going to show you the brands, but I've got like lamb chunks and beef liver bites and pork hearts. These are a little bit smaller, so you can kind of use them for different things. And then smaller beef livers, and then I got some that are wild Pacific caught fish meal and blueberries. And then I got cage-free duck meal and blueberries, grain-free cookies. So as you can see, they're already interested. So what I've been doing is like, before I would just be regimented. I was like, okay, I need these dogs walk twice a day. I'm trying to get them out of the house. I recognize for my daughter that like dogs, she read something that said dogs need that sniffing, and it helps stimulate them, which is, getting them out of their boredom. And I did find my dogs were kind of overly obsessed with like predators around, which, I mean, it makes sense, but at some point you want to be able to enjoy a walk too, right? And that's part of like me wanting to train too, is like my one dog would be so intense running forward, and my other dog would be so slow sniffing out everything. And in reality, those are both fear behaviors. Like she's wanting to mark her area, and what I think was a more of an obsessed manner. And he wants to like run forward to make sure, like it's almost like he wants to rush through the walk because of the fear that he's feeling. And so having these treats along the way are not only, I'm able to train them with their sitting, their staying, their watching. With Tucker, he likes to jump, so I get him to jump and catch the treat. So that's like a challenge and a fun game for him. If I drop a treat, I'll say find it. So that's a fun, hide and seek kind of little, just along the way. It's not too far. I also, because the leash isn't very long, but it's long enough, I can teach them to come back to me. So I say, when they're far ahead, I tell them to come. And it doesn't have to be like from a long distance. Like I'm just teaching them commands right now in a safe distance. And then I'm also doing it outside where it's early in the morning when I do most of this. Like there's not a lot of people around. Even in the evening I try, it's still not overly concentrated with people. But I was working with my one little peanut dog. There was a man that was walking, and it was a small distraction, not a dangerous one, but just she was aware. She kept looking over, so it was a perfect time to get me to watch, because we did see that other pit bull this morning, and that's where I got her to teach her to sit and stay, and I'm trying to get her to watch. She didn't see the dog, but I saw the dog, and the owner didn't see us, but I didn't know. I've had times where the dog sees us before the owner does, and then what are we supposed to do? And I'm also learning to be more aware of my surroundings. Like if that were to happen, I need to be more aware of like where I can put my dog up on top of. Like I would potentially have to put my dog up on a car if I had to. I've seen people do that, and maybe that's something, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think ahead too. Like if something were to happen, I don't want to be obsessed, but I want to be like, okay, what is a good solution if that were to happen? Like what are things I need to be like someone else's backyard maybe, popping over a shorter fence or something, trying to keep us between, like before I've had to keep a car between me and another dog. And depending on the situation, that can work for so long. But I mean, a fenced-in area would be much safer until the dog is under control. And so now that I'm doing these treats, I still haven't worked the heel is not there, but I still want my dogs to be curious about their environment and have fun on the walk. So the heel will come. I noticed I use that command come to have my dog come back. So it's just because he can't heel right now, it's actually benefiting me because I can use that where he gets distance to bring him back with that command. So we're still training, and it's just building blocks. And so I'm finding like it's more enjoyable because they're enjoying the walk now because they're doing tricks, they're playing games, and they're getting food, and they love food. And so these are things that are improving our life, our quality of life. And it seems small, but these things are like building blocks. You have to build upon these, because once I can do that, then I can have them. They're less reactive, and so that's what also I'm teaching them is when we see other dogs and getting them to sit and stay, so they're not like a moving target, creating attraction to these other high prey or highly bored dogs, whatever the situation is. I don't know all the details. I'm not a dog connoisseur. I just make the best assessment from my experiences, and I can kind of see how this mirrors my life with other people. But I mean, it's also to the point, like, I don't want to just stop walking my dogs. I just want to try to make it better. And you can only do what you can do. So, so I'm getting, okay, here's another thing I'm doing, which I think is helping too, is all those bags that I just called out, those versions, it's like the dogs never know what they're going to get. So it's not like the same liver, beef liver, beef liver, beef liver. It's like, oh, last time I got one of these big-ass blueberry heart duck things. And the last time I got this chewy and texture lamb bit, and then the last time I got a dried up beef liver, and I like it's all different textures, it's all different tastes, and I think that's fun for the dogs too. Here's the thing too, is like these dogs need food, so why not use these treats to not only motivate them, they enjoy the food, and we're getting training done. So it all feels like fun and games, but they're still learning, and I'm patient, and I feel better as a parent to them, because I'm giving them something that they enjoy, and it's good for them. It's like the two birds, one stone, right? We're getting a lot done within this whole, like, as we're building, it's like we're weaving things in and adding them. And I'm also, here's the thing too, is like there are times when I would read about how to train my dog. I absorbed it because it was during one of my resting depression bed phases, right? And so it's like, I don't just rest, I also like research, and I can't apply them right then, but I'm also learning techniques and stuff. And so that I'm recalling on that information, and I'm bringing it up from that time to this time, because at that time I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the patience, I didn't feel like I had the time because I was more resting than rebuilding at that time. So, but I still had information. Now I'm pulling from that. So it's like, do you see how like you can really make the most out of your time at certain things? And even though I couldn't do it then, that's when I was able to retain that information, and now is when I can add the action. And so sometimes in life, it's like, you can't always act on certain things, but there are things that you can be doing when you are resting. And it feels kind of the same, where you're resting. Maybe you're binge watching your Netflix and something, but you still may be scrolling and getting information and researching. And the Netflix could be more like a white noise in the background. It could be something, a feel-good show that you enjoy. And then you're also like getting information for like how to improve your life moving forward. And it sounds like a lot of overstimulation. But for me, I find it helpful because now I've pulled that energy. And it feels like at that time, I was like resting, which I really had a challenge resting at times. And so it wasn't my full version of rest, but it was my way working to the rest. And so it's like, to me, I wouldn't give myself permission and time to just lay in bed all day, because I'd always have my to-do list on the back of my mind. It got to a point where I had to take that to-do list and really not only prioritize it, but like throw it away at a point and say, this is not the time to work, this is to rest. And at that, like I said, at that time, that was the best way I knew how to rest. You know, binge watching Netflix is not always the best ideal, but at that time, that's all I could have access to. You know, I have other ways that I wanted to rest, but like if you don't have the energy yet either, like I like to do other things resting, but if you're so tired and exhausted, burnt out, you just don't have sometimes the means or the energy to get to those things. So it's like all about like building. So like building blocks, building off one thing that you learned. And so like I've done other work at the window with the dogs to help slow that reactivity down, right? And then try to distract them to bring them back to me in focus. And then now, because I did that groundwork, now when I go out, then I can also get them to, hey, pause and watch that dog. Now there's some dogs, obviously we're not going to sit and watch because they're just too out of control. But they're recognizing when we had some situations that when we went to there's a park here where it was meant to be used for dogs, but people were like, well, it's for off leash. And I was like, well, that they kind of twisted the intention there to suit their needs. And these are all people with large ass dogs, and they didn't think about the ones with the little dogs and how that would affect them. And so I would go over there, and we came across a number of dogs, and before my dogs would lay down and submit, and it's almost like we both got fed up with this at the same time. And so my dogs would start not only barking back, but like my one dog will bite back, not blood bite back, but he started pinching at these large ass dogs because I think he had enough of like that, you know, he had enough. And I can relate to that. And so I think while those experiences are shitty, because like it'd be nice if people were more considerate of other people too, we learned safe and unsafe. And so now when we're out on our walks, they can kind of assess the situation too. A barking dog doesn't necessarily mean a dangerous dog, but a dog that is off leash coming at us, I don't care if they're friendly or not. The idea is my dogs like time to get to know each other, and so do, or to know people, and so do I. I'm like that too. I don't want, just because I have a conversation with you and I'm friendly, that doesn't guarantee we have some sort of like deep-seated investment. I'm friendly to everybody because that's just the type of person I am, but it doesn't mean I want you up and close and personal. That doesn't mean we're fast friends. That doesn't mean I got your back. I don't have your back to stab it either. You know, just because I don't know you doesn't mean I have to have some sort of vendetta about you. It just means I got shit going on. You cross my path and I'm friendly. Now, so like the building blocks have helped me to get better with my dogs. So yeah, I'm gonna do another video after this about my eating and what I've kind of come to the conclusion and how I'm gonna be working through that, but also how it ties in with the dogs. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like and subscribe, follow, share if you can. I appreciate that. I just saw one of my subscribers, Rashad, he shared one of my videos, and that was like the first for me, and that was a huge wow. That was like, huh, wow, that's really cool. And it was, I mean, I guess I've had it like in Facebook and stuff, but I never had it on YouTube where someone actually shared my video. And that was a first for me, and I really appreciate you, Rashad. And yeah, so that was pretty fun for me. And I'm trying to think what else. Okay, so that's all I got for now, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, and thanks for watching.